Morning guys, we are here at one of the steam trains in Pretoria and we have a very special day ahead of us. We've got a Class 15F. This is Annie, by the way. She's finally made an appearance in my YouTube videos, so this is the small appearance. And we are heading to check out the Class 15F that has been fired up for the first time in a very, very long time. So it's going to be an exciting day.
Hey, me again. I unfortunately didn't do all that much in-camera recording and voiceover work, so here I am post the day and just giving you a bit of a voiceover as to everything that happened.
This is a 19D. Looking absolutely beautiful. Got a little diesel shanty here. Almost looks like a Ruston. In fact, is it? It might be a Ruston. And here's the 15F. Absolute monster. Being cleaned up. Oh, what's this? It's a Garrett. That's a GMAM Garrett. Incredible.
We arrived at Wonder Steam Trains early on the Saturday morning with special permission from the team to be on shed, so a huge thank you to Derek and his team for allowing us to do so. As we entered, I was actually just blown away at just how neat and well organized the Wonder team are. They certainly keep a clean yard and take immense pride in their work. Honestly, the timing couldn't have been better as the early morning sun rose to meet that glowing steel of the 15F. As the crew glossed and shined the 15F for its first passenger outing in many, many years, Annie and I took some time to wander around the yard.
Absolutely awesome. And we've got some rolling stock back here, some old SAR coaches, which is really cool. These obviously probably what we're going to be riding on. They look a little bit dilapidated, but I suppose it's more important that we maintain the locomotive and not the stock. It's not a hell of a lot of money for steam preservation in this country, so if we can get these things running, that's the plus, I guess.
Numerous locomotives lay in different states of repair. It's clear there is a plan for all of them in the long term, so it really fills your heart with a lot of joy knowing they are safe and secure here.
Look at this tender. Absolutely massive. Get a really good idea of the South African gauging here. It's how narrow that wheel set is compared to the width of the tender. Just absolutely amazing. There's so much history here. There are so many locomotives that have either been used for spares or, are being rebuilt. Behind me here, see the GMAM Garrett. And it's just really special to see that steam preservation is still alive and well in this country. And there's Annie. Dragged her out really early this morning, but this is super special to see, especially that the 15F running again. I don't think this is probably the only one that's currently running. I think that one of the cool things about this is that we're able to just be so close to these things while they get fired up, We got, I'm standing right next to this thing as it's being lit up, and it's just beautiful. They've cleaned it up so nicely. I mean, look at these deflectors and the light and the sun catching these. Absolutely incredible. Guys, correct me if I'm wrong. This is a Ruston, right? All the way down here in South Africa. Pretty sure it's a Ruston. Yeah, that's a Ruston, right? Insane. Yes, that is actually a Ruston. That's super cool. It's obviously a very utilitarian little thing used in the yard here. Super cool to see a little Ruston here in South Africa. And then we got the sheds again. Beautiful. Absolutely awesome to see this. Absolutely awesome.
While we wait for the city of Bloemfontein to steam up, here's a bit of history on this monstrous class of engine. The South African Railways Class 15F steam locomotive is a significant model in the history of South African steam. It was designed primarily for heavy freight work, but was versatile enough to be used for passenger services as well. The 15F was developed by SAR as a refinement of earlier Class 15 models. The first of the Class 15F models was introduced in 1938. This was designed by Dr. M.M. Laubscher, SAR's chief mechanical engineer at the time. The primary aim was to improve efficiency and power for handling the increasingly heavier train loads on the South African rail network. It features a 482 mountain wheel type arrangement which provided a balanced distribution of its substantial weight, crucial for maximizing traction. The loco's boiler operated at a high pressure of 210 psi, driving two large outside cylinders with Walshutz valve gear. This setup delivered a strong tractive effort of 42,340 pound-feet at 75%, essential for pulling heavy loads over the steep gradients typical of South African rail routes. The Class 15's robust capabilities made it one of the most reliable and hardest working steam locomotives in the mid-20th century in South Africa. A total of 255 of these monsters were built between 1938 and 48, making it one of the most numerous classes of steam locomotives in South Africa. They were constructed by the North British Locomotive Company and Berliner Maschinenbau, along with local production by SAR's own workshops in South Africa. With the decline of steam in the 1970s and 80s, many of these 15Fs were retired from active service. You may recognize the 15F from the monster moves where the team actually had to move one from Bloemfontein to Glasgow in about 20 days or so. And in doing so, you might realize that the South African rail network is in absolute shambles right now. And this would certainly come to show in the day ahead. Little did I know. So about 2 hours after we arrived, City of Bloemfontein looked ready to roll out. With a couple of blasts from her double whistle, she crawled onto the freight yard and ran around. Backing up, you get a good view of the common sight in South Africa, a disused and unkempt mainline freight yard, which is rather sad. Once she was hooked up, we didn't really have to wait long. Following a couple of permissions, we were able to finally back out onto the main line and actually get going. I was super impressed overall at the quality of the coaches. They weren't the ones that I had shown earlier in the video, but were in fact very well maintained, beautiful wooden coaches from yesteryear. It wasn't very long before the South African rail situation sort of reared its ugly head, and we were stuck at the first station on the main line, which was only about 300 meters from the Heritage Depot, unfortunately. And we were stuck there for a good 20 minutes while we waited for clearance.
We are currently at Hercules Station here, and unfortunately, we haven't really moved far from the original station. Sadly, one of the things with South African Railways is that it's run by Prasa, and they don't really seem to have their stuff in order. So, unfortunately, we have a situation where we have to sit and wait for very long periods of time before we can get moving again. But good opportunity to take some photos of the city of Bloemfontein and get some videos. But it is what it is. We keep going.
But then we got away again, and it was absolutely fantastic being pulled by this monstrous engine. A really special sight in South Africa. Along the way, we made several scheduled stops, and one of them was for a photographer placed up on the mountain. This is actually my friend James Atwell. He's a fantastic railway photographer. If you haven't seen his work, please go check out his Instagram page. If you are on Instagram, he takes absolutely outstanding pictures, and he really went the extra mile here today, hiking 2 kilometers up this very steep mountain to get these magnificent shots. It was absolutely awesome that he decided to share this with me. So thank you very, very much, James. I really do appreciate it, and your work is outstanding. Keep it up, man. We passed several disused stations, one after the other. All of them were locked up and only manned by 1 or 2 security guards. It really was a sad sight seeing the once thriving railways of South Africa in a very disused and disheveled sort of state. However, the line we were on had been tested and cleared, and it was fantastic to get going and get up to about sort of 40 kilometers behind city of Bloemfontein. What should have been a sort of hour-and-a-half round trip ended up being a 3.5-hour trip, and that was simply because the locomotive and, well, train had to stop so many times awaiting permission from Prasa to enter certain sections of the line. We passed a working freight yard, although I did not see any freight being sort of pushed or pulled around other than this Class 18E, which you can see here just randomly sitting in a siding awaiting, I guess, some kind of orders. It really is sad to see our railway lines and our fantastic railway network be so abused. I don't want to make this too negative. It certainly was an incredible day. I had so much fun. Annie and I had the time of our lives. Everyone on board was super excited to finally be behind a steam locomotive again, and the spirits were very high despite the sort of extra long time. The only unfortunate thing was that because of the sort of time delays, a lot of children were getting restless, which is, I suppose a little bit expected, and a couple people got a little bit antsy, but overall the Wonder team did a really fantastic job at sort of keeping people in check and making sure they knew exactly what was happening and reassuring us that they were doing their best. And I, for one, saw Derek on his phone several times trying to answer calls from patrons saying there's nothing we can really do. It really is just the situation in South Africa. I think for me, one of the really special things about this is that I am so sort of disconnected from the world of steam. I only have my model railway, and to be able to see it in person every now and then really kind of brings the whole thing to life again, and it kind of fires you up and gets you a bit more motivated, and you're reminded of these incredible machines and what they're capable of and the history behind them, and it just really got me so juiced up again about everything. So couldn't recommend it more if you are in South Africa or in Johannesburg, Gauteng area. They post regularly on their Facebook group about when their next events are, and this was the guinea pig run, but I'm sure that they will have many more of these to come in future, and I certainly, for one, won't be missing them. So a big thank you to the Wonder team overall. It was a really fantastic day. I enjoyed every single minute of it. Stepping away from a day like this, I felt incredibly jealous of my UK friends who are able to do this sort of stuff on a weekly basis. You guys are so lucky and so blessed to have such a rich railway heritage community. And it's good to see that at least in South Africa, we're trying our best to keep this alive. It really is important that we support these kind of initiatives and try and keep this history alive. It's so special. And it really was a day I won't forget very soon. So thanks for watching something a bit different this time. Cheers.